I was just pondering some things while I was cutting some pallet wood up for a project ongoing. And of course mine is I see a lot of things, clickbaity probably is the right word for it, on YouTube, and I think, not sure about that. And I thought I'd just go through that, take those off because thank you. Just go through my thoughts on what I would say the 5 things to avoid if you're just starting out in a CNC business. This doesn't mean to say I'm going to do in the future 5 things to do when you start a CNC business, and there's a reason for that, as you'll see during the course of the video. The other thing I want to mention as well, I don't want to come across as being negative and saying don't start a CNC business. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm trying to do is just give you some ideas as to what to avoid if you don't want to get fairly hacked off that you're not having the success you think you should be getting based on the titles of some of those video contents. And I'll add to that the fact that, you know, 20 years, more than 20 years in business. This isn't me just making it on the cuff. I've had numerous business enterprises over the years. I've got several enterprises going at the moment. The CNC is just one. Is it, mate? Yeah, my breath's freezing as I speak. That's how cold it is today. Don't have any heating in my unit. Just got to get on with it. Anyway, 5 things just to avoid when you're starting out. So number 5 on my list, I'm going to do this in reverse order. Number 5 is 3D carving. Okay. Now I say that because it's probably the thing that most people look at a CNC and think, oh, I can think of things that I can make with that. And they're pretty cool. If you're making them for family and friends, you know, no problem at all. But if you're trying to make a business out of it, it's very, very difficult. And the main reason for that is the length of time it takes to actually do the carving. You can never justify that time in the charging, you know, what you'd have to charge when you put them online for sale. If you compare it to, say, someone who does hand carving, even they sometimes don't get really what the part is worth. But the fact it's hand carved just gives it a little bit more status, and people seem to be a bit more willing to pay a little bit more for it. Compared to a machine did it, it's not quite the same. The trouble is, as I say, you never quite get that money back. The cool thing about CNCs compared to hand carving is repeatability. You can accurately repeat parts over and over again. So if you have got time and you want to make some for family and friends, do so, go for it. But unless you're doing something really outstanding, you're going to struggle on the 3D carving to make what it's worth for the time and energy involved in you doing it. Okay, this number 4 on my list is a bit sort of yin and yang. Okay, the yin is the low price, high volume products. They're very difficult to break into and almost certainly end in disaster. You're running around like an idiot, making pennies on the pound for nothing, you know. And everyone does it. And with the advent of lasers, and even to some extent 3D printers, where they can sort of set them going and leave them, but certainly on the laser side, they can take on these silly little jobs far easier than you can on a CNC, mostly down to the fact you've got more stringent work holding, and you've literally got a baby machine to some extent. You know, if some of the parts you cut, you can walk away, but you know, it's at your risk kind of thing, which you don't quite get with a laser. So low volume, low price, high volume, want to avoid. And the yang to that is the complicated parts that take a long time to actually fabricate. Now, in saying that, I'm talking about things like, as an example that's going to my mind at the minute, I saw this brilliant clock this guy did, a fantastic design, but during the course of the video that he was presenting talking about it, although he'd sold loads of them, he admitted it took him several hours to actually cut out. Now, if you factor in the cutting out, and then you factor in the time it takes to colour the lettering, then the time it takes to varnish, sand, clean, prep, then assemble, put it all together, then package it, you know, and so on and so forth. It's not only hours, you're into days as well, including the drying time. If you're realistic again on your prices, and he never indicated what his prices were. I did a search to find one that was for sale in the UK, and it was like 100 quid. It wasn't worth it. You know, there was at least £100 worth of time in it, never mind the actual materials and the parts. Minimum of £100, if not more. I think I worked out about 120 quid. You know, to sell that at a sensible price, a sensible profit, you've got to be looking at, you know, 175 to 200 quid. And you just, you know, people aren't going to pay that for that kind of thing. So it's like the yang to the yin. If you're doing these slightly more elaborate products, you've got to judge how long it takes what's involved, and whether or not it's a sensible return at the end of the day. And remember, you're starting out, so you want projects that will sell and sell well when you're getting going. Okay, on to my number 3. Number 3 is what I would refer to as geographic specific projects. And the reason I put that in there is because I see a lot of people, a lot of the videos out there are from America, for example, and products that would sell well there. I've seen a few from Australia, and again, products that would sell well there. And I see a lot of the listings on Etsy from the British shops trying to sell similar products. Now, some will sell anywhere, that's a given, but there are some that are going to struggle in certain places. And my immediate one is, I think it's called Cornhole. I'll be wrong, but it's a board game of some kind. That would never sell in the UK, or not to any level of volume. Yet it's a popular thing in certain parts of the States. There's other ones I can think of. I love these whiskey smokers. I think they're a fantastic idea if you're doing the woodwork stuff. Absolutely brilliant products, but is there a huge market in the UK for them? Bearing in mind how many people are making woodwork items on a CNC, you've got to think about what is the volume there, and is it worth entering into. So my number 3 is think about where you are and the domestic market. You can still export, but it gets harder to export something that's already widely available in a third country, unless you've got a completely unique spin on it. So my number 3 is geography. Well, we're getting through them now. My number 2 on the list, and haters are going to hate me for this, and some of the other YouTubers are going to hate me for this, but I'm sorry, it needs saying. That is the YouTuber, this clickbait stuff, where they say you can earn X thousand of dollars or X thousand pounds by making these parts, or these are my top 10 parts lists, etc., etc. My first thought to that is, my immediate reaction to that is, well, if you're selling it that well, why use advertising it for the people to, suggesting that people make it, thereby dinting your market? And to argue the market's huge, it doesn't really work like that. 9 times out of 10, these people then have it listed in their listing somewhere for a link for you to go and buy the drawing, design, and go and make your own. It's just hiding to nothing. If you go and look on the view count of the videos, they're into the thousands. If only a few people out of every 1,000 that have watched it buy the stuff and then go and make it, every time that happens, the marketplace is getting saturated. And you think you've got this wonderful product, you've just got to download it, shove it on your CNC, cut it out, put it on, I don't know, Etsy, eBay, wherever, and it's going to sell. It's not. It's going to sit there and mellow with all the other ones. And I say this, I did some experiments in the summer to test this theory. We don't normally get involved in what I call the consumer level stuff to that extent, but I decided to make a range of keyrings on various themes, very much like the metal stampers do, the ones they do by hand. I decided to see if there was a play with that in the market for the CNC world, bearing in mind as well that I have a lot of offcuts and it was using up some of the scrap, so it was just a little play. I think I listed about 100 designs, different themes, different things, during the course of the summer, and some of them were related to anniversaries, which, bearing in mind most people get married in the summer, that's the time for the anniversaries. I'd have expected to sell a certain reasonable amount of them if this was true, and I think we sold 3. Yes, 3. Needless to say, apart from one which I quite liked and left up there, they've all been delisted now. These things never work, trying to copy what someone else is doing, especially when they're selling designs. I mean, I didn't even buy design, I went and designed our own. It's best avoided. Find your own products, or use those videos for inspiration to go and find your own products. That's the best way to take it forward. So my number 2 on the list is all those people clickbaiting videos. And that brings me on to my number 1 thing to avoid. Kind of a personal thing for me, but that's not why I'm doing it. But it's I think I'm saying it for the right reason, and that is custom parts. The reason I say that is custom parts are brilliant, and once you get lots of experience, totally go for it. But when you're just starting out, the added level of stress of trying to make custom parts work just adds to the unnecessary grief you're going to have, and especially when you're trying to learn different materials, because you never know what customers are going to want, and you've got to have all the different tools and different settings that you need to get those particular parts to work, or those materials to work. It's just kind of a next level item, if you know, for the want of a better description. It's best adding to your portfolio as you grow and get more experience. So my number one is really to avoid customer parts. As I say, once you get going, definitely, you know, there's money to be made there, and it's great fun because it does then expand your knowledge and your experience. So worth it. But you know, as you're getting going, just start slowly with some of the basic stuff. So there we go. Those are my top 5 things to avoid when you're a newbie on a CNC, if you're trying to make it as a side hustle for a business. Just a couple of things before I go, and you've made it this far, thank you very much for watching. I really do appreciate it. Obviously, I'm going to be doing some more videos on maintenance on this CNC machine, and also a review on the spindle I'm currently using, which is a Vevor spindle, and I'll do some tests on that before I do that video. But yeah, if you like what you've seen, don't forget to subscribe and hit the like button. I really appreciate it. And the last thing, just for the haters out there, because you've watched this far and I know you're going to leave a comment, pallet wood. Yeah, the project I've got coming up for that, so that's going to be fascinating. That's kindling for my fire. Oh, you're going to hate that, aren't you? You're absolutely going to hate that. Anyway, just joking. Leave a comment if you dislike my kindling joke. We'll see you again soon. Thank you for watching. Take care.